competitive environment update. It's a big competitive game. There's a lot of teams that are viable right now. And what does that mean for you as a player if, let's say, you're heading to the Rock Cup or Rock World Cup, or we have World Championships just around the corner in November? What this means is practice is hard. And by that, I mean there's going to be a fair amount of rock, paper, scissors to matchups. It's not just this. Now, one of the beauties of a game like Heroclix is that rock does beat scissor most of the time. But sometimes you can squeak out that win in very specific ways. And this is the sort of thing you have to deal with in a wide open metagame. It's a great environment when the competitive metagame is a lot of teams. I think there's approximately 17 to 20 archetypes, of which there are multiple variations on each one, making the actual number of team builds close to the hundreds. And in those hundreds, the variations make the matter of difference. And there's a lot of elements in the current game that are very small and mutable and movable and interchangeable, that where one person might think their team needs one fix, another person might think their team needs another fix. And again, all very healthy, but very hard to practice. The person running the gauntlet, as we've said in practice, there's always that one guy who's got to take all the teams in the competitive game and say, I'm going to play all these. Well, they're in for a long night each night if you try to do that. So what you kind of want to push yourself towards in an environment like this is figuring out what you play best and what you know best. And that comes from practice, just using the team. Ultimately, there's very little information to be gathered wide scale. Once you figure out what your bad matchups are, the information becomes small scale, and you're playing with small percentages from here. In other shows, I've said your team might lose 90% of the time to one team, but you've got to find that 10%. And this is what we're talking about. Is the team that you play best is the team you can always find that last 10%. Where is that 10%? Maybe it's in holding back something that you would normally be sending forward. Maybe it's completely reversing your playstyle, because a lot of the time our playstyle on our team is let's do one thing, and once we're done with that one thing, let's see that will lead to thing two. And then once we're done thing two, we should be winning. But sometimes that situation can't occur against certain teams, and you need to go, well, it's probably best in this situation to do thing two, then see how we can follow up with thing one. I use very vague terms because goodness knows how many different archetypes there are, and I can't try to tell you which archetype you can be using. What I can be telling you is manage your matchups to the best of your ability, understand your team and how you're trying to win, first of all, then start looking at the teams that are bad matchups, and then start figuring out how you're going to beat those. Because what's going to end up happening in a place like Rock World Cup or Worlds is you're either not going to run into those things because there's such a variation, or you're going to run into a bunch of that one thing because people are playing it because it beats the other thing that you happen to be playing. So you got to know how to take that 10% and put it over the top in your favor. On that note, that's kind of our thought bubble for today. Keep your mind on the minuscule, keep your mind on that extra reach, and keep your mind on being the best player of your team versus having the team that beats the meta game, because that doesn't exist right now. All right, so that's what we have for this week on Metafix. Hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Hope all this pre-planning for all these World Cups around the corner is going well, because you need to get that practice. Practice will make your team better.